everybody else in as well. Your girl is getting better with her technology. Do me a favor, everybody, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc. Give me your city and state. Zoom, give me your city and state. I'm in the chat right now. I can see you. Give me your city and state so I can recognize you, please. Let me know where you're coming from. We're here to talk about the 10K project, what we're doing. I wrote the business plan. It was SEC required for our application. And there were some interesting lessons that I learned while I was writing the business plan. So tell me what city and state you're coming from in the chat. You get me talking today with regards to what I learned as I was putting together the business plan. So we've got Seattle here, we've got New Jersey, we've got Atlanta. Tell me where you're coming from. I know we got Virginia in here. Oh, Suriname, wow. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. If there are others, let me know where you are coming from. I'd love to recognize you. I would love to recognize you. So, perfect. Okay, well, I can't seem to get that as well. So I don't want to mess up going live. So perfect. All righty then. Thank you so much. Jacksonville, Florida. Cali in the house, I see. Fantastic. All of my people that are potentially going to be affected by the hurricane, we are praying for you, for everybody to stay safe. So Wharton, New Jersey. Yeah, excited as always. Thank you, that dude. Okay. So let's get started. I've got some notes here with regards to some of the lessons that I learned and some of the things that we included in our 10K project business plan. I will say I'm not going to give you the entire business plan. Some of the things are coming out at the end of September, early October, and some of the things we're keeping proprietary so that we can serve you so much better. However, I am going to share some interesting tidbits of information that I found as I was writing the business plan. You may ask, number one, why did we write a business plan? So number one, I am a business plan writer, have been for the past decade. So I do believe in the power of like a very simple one-page business plan. And that's what I have been working with for the past 3 months or so. But legal counsel said, no, you got to write a full business plan because it needs to go in with your SEC application, which we filed yesterday. What? Yes. So that was one of the 2 applications. Well, actually, there are like 6 different things we have to file, and we filed 4, I think, of the 6. So we got a couple more things left to file. But part of the process was I had to write the 10K Projects business plan. And in that process, as well as some of the work we've been doing with Eddie the Economist, shout out to Eddie, we started kind of formulating the story of Black business and Black people and Black wealth. Some of the things that I had not heard before, some of the things that weren't expressed in a lot of the more popular people we find on social media. And, I was just like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And some things I knew, but based on my research, I was just given more context to why those things are the way that they are. So the first thing that I have here in my notes is that Black people represent 13% of the population. However, we only own 4.3% of businesses in the United States. And to give you a contrast, white people are like 60-something% of the population and they own 80-something% of the businesses. And what's the number one thing, or let's say a couple of things, 2 things that owning a business gives people? Just make this a little bit more interactive. So I got Instagram here, and I'm also here on Zoom. So if you're anyplace else, I won't be able to see you. So financial freedom, people are saying. What else? Tax advantages. I was thinking that tax advantages, definitely. And it gives the community, it has to do with financial freedom. It gives the community what? So someone's saying access to wealth building. I was going to make it a little bit more primitive here. So employment, and I would say financial stability. So because our counterparts are at a specific level of businesses owned versus their population, one of the things that came out in my research is that's one of the reasons that they have some of the financial stability that we don't have within the Black community. So we're going to dive deeper into that 4.3% later on. That 4.3% of Black-owned businesses doesn't really tell the whole story. So Talicia's saying here, control of personal income, tax deductions, and options. Yes, absolutely. Calvin is giving me a wave. So hey, Calvin, good to see you. Yeah, so that's one of the things that that came about, and I did know that. And I'm an old lady here, so I'm gonna need my glasses actually to read the rest of this. So yeah, so recent reports also state that 40% of Black-owned businesses are not expected to survive COVID-19. And that could be for a few different reasons. We've talked about that as officers. We've talked about that within the members only section and webinars that we've had within the 10K project. I think we may have even talked about it a little bit in our general discussions as well. We do know that there are a lot of Black-owned businesses that are not coming back. We also believe that there are new businesses that are going to start because of COVID, because of all of the economic and political uncertainty that's happening right now as well. So, you know, what I'm really interested in seeing is what is the net going to be? Because the net new job creation, the net new businesses started probably is not going to be like a minus 40%. Some of those jobs are going to, some of those businesses, are going to morph into other things. And I would be interested in the next few years to see, like, okay, we lost 40%, but 32% went on to do something else post-COVID. So that'll be interesting. And those are the types of opportunities I think that we need to look out for as the 10K project, as a group of investors that are coming together in order to fund Black businesses. So there is, and people are recognizing this, there's a major untapped entrepreneurial potential within the Black community. And people are also recognizing our counterparts. Other equity crowdfunding portals are also recognizing the need for Black entrepreneurship to be not only celebrated, but invested in. They're starting to write articles about it. They're starting to highlight Black-owned businesses, things like that. So, you know, word is starting to get out. However, it is not getting out fast enough and at the level that we needed to, which is where the 10K project can really fill in a gap there. So there are a lot of disparities in funding within the Black community and Black businesses. One is that we are less likely to be approved for loans that we're looking for. And in my experience, I wrote business plans for a decade and helped companies get funding. Sometimes the businesses that we're starting are not bankable businesses. And there are a whole myriad of reasons I won't even go through for that. Sometimes the businesses are bank worthy. However, because of lack of collateral, you know, you usually need 20% of the amount you're looking for in cash sitting in a business bank account. You have credit concerns. there are a lot of different reasons why bank loans are not getting funded. And some of us don't even apply because we believe there's actually, I don't have it in front of me, but there was a statistic with regards to the numbers of people who don't even apply for bank funding or traditional funding just because they don't believe that they are going to be approved for it. So that's one of the main disparities. The second main disparity is that Black businesses start with less capital. In fact, we start with 1/3 of the capital of our white counterparts. So imagine if you and another business owner had the same type of business, yet they started off with 3 times the capital that you had. And this is according to one study. 3 times the capital that you had. What else would they be able to do with that capital that you aren't able to do? They're able to get more inventory. So if you're able to buy more inventory, you're able to buy it at a cheaper rate per unit, which means then that your profit margins go up. You're able to employ people. You're able to get, higher production value for your content if that's what's needed. So now all of a sudden, because you're working with 1/3 of the budget that other people are working with, now we wonder why our businesses aren't doing as well. That's like one piece of it. Another thing is when we do get certain types of funding that other people are getting, we tend to be charged higher interest rates. And because we're charged higher interest rates, that ends up eating into our profit margin. So now all of a sudden you have all of this stuff compounding. You have businesses that are working with 1/3 of the budget at higher interest rates. The fourth thing that came up, and this is something that the Economist and I talked about as well, is the businesses that we're starting tend to be lower profit margin businesses. So what do I mean by that? The businesses that we're starting tend to have a 15% profit margin. That means for every dollar our businesses make in revenues, in sales, our net profit is 15 cents. Our counterparts are at a 30% profit margin on average. So now you got all of these things coming in. You're charged higher interest, you're starting with 1/3 the budget, and many Black people are selecting businesses that have lower profit margins. Well, no wonder we are partially at a disadvantage. And it's a great part as well. I'm not even gonna lie, it's a great part. So with that knowledge, I wanna tell you about what the 10K project is and then go into some of the economic benefits of equity crowdfunding. So we're using a legislation that was signed in 2012 by President Obama. It's called the Jobs Act of 2012. It didn't actually come into fruition until 2016 though, because y'all know the government, they had to take time. The SEC had to take time to write the rules out, and it took them 4 years. But the law used to be that private companies, whether they were startups or growing companies, we as normal people couldn't invest in those companies unless we were something called accredited. And I heard Republic CEO, basically accredited is another term for rich people, right? So normal people, which is like 97% of the US population, are considered unaccredited. So that meant you and I as normal people were not able to invest in these private companies, come together and invest in these private companies. Well, the law changed all of that, the Jobs Act of 2012. And it says now that private companies are able to come onto an SEC-approved equity crowdfunding portal in order to pitch their businesses to a large group of people. And those individuals, each individual can decide if they want to invest in that Black business. So imagine the sharks at Shark Tank. That's kind of what we're doing, except we call ours Bet on Black Pitches, where we're going to be an SEC and FINRA approved equity crowdfunding portal. And we're going to bring three groups of people together. The first group are those entrepreneurs that need capital for their businesses. These need to be scalable businesses. We are focused on Black-owned businesses. I have people asking me every day, how can I find out more? Get on our mailing list at the10kproject.com. That's the10kproject.com. And on October 27th, we are releasing the Entrepreneur's Guide to getting raising capital on the portal. But you got to be on our email list to get that guide. So the first group of people are the entrepreneurs. The second group of people are investors, regular people like you and I that have $100 to put into various businesses. So once a week, you will be invited to come to a pitch done by an entrepreneur. That entrepreneur is going to talk about their business, what their business is, what they're going to do with the money, how much money are they raising, how will we get our money back, when will we get our money back, and each individual investor gets to decide if they like that business, they're able to invest in that specific business, and the minimum investment is $100. And then the third group of people we bring together are those business specialists. So nobody makes a $10 million business, $100 million business, billion-dollar business without a team. You need a team of lawyers, accountants, digital marketers, writers, project managers, operations people. If that's you, you would want to be a part of our ecosystem as well. And the way to do that is to come to the10kproject.com to learn more. So we bring three groups of people together: the entrepreneurs, the investors, and those business specialists that's able to work with the entrepreneur and take the community's money and 10x it, 20x it, 30x it, etc. So as an equity crowdfunding portal, what are some of the economic benefits? Now, two of these I knew, and one of them I really didn't know. So there are three primary ones that I discovered. The first is job creation. The average crowdfunding campaign adds 2.2 jobs per successful crowdfunding campaign. So that's something that's very, very interesting. So unemployment in our communities typically is higher than other communities. And one of the primary reasons is because we don't have enough Black companies that are employing individuals. The number one employer of Black people is the government. The number two employer are Black businesses. We need to get more Black businesses that are willing to be employers. And you cannot grow. The types of businesses that we're going to have on the 10K Project are scalable businesses. $10 million or more is what your goal needs to be for your business, right? In terms of revenues, in terms of top line. You can't grow that type of business without employees and business specialists to help you. So automatically, when we look at the 10K Project, we're looking at being a job creator. And again, in my opinion, the more jobs we have, the more financial stability we have. It's one piece of the puzzle. The second thing that is an economic benefit to the 10K Project are higher wages. So we talked about this before. In our community typically has businesses that are having profit margins of 15%. Other communities typically have businesses that average 30%. So one of the things we're looking for within the 10K Project are those companies and those industries that will have higher profit margins as well. Because when we get into things like technology and other types of industries that we're going to release, all of a sudden we're able to pay higher wages. We had this discussion as an internal discussion with members, but one of the things we talked about was also having education as part of some of the things that the businesses may end up offering. When we say education, skill education, right? A lot of times our people don't have all of the skills necessary in order to get the jobs that that are going to be available within the companies that are funded. So how do we also do various types of, Dr. Keisha calls it skill up. We need to be able to figure out a way as a community, as a group of 10K Project everyday venture capitalists to offer the skills needed so that people can get higher wages. And that's another part of what we're doing within the 10K Project. The third thing I did not know about, and it's a benefit of equity crowdfunding, and it's more so a benefit of just having more Black business owners in the community, and that's reduced youth violence. I didn't know this until I started researching. So I'm going to read this paragraph here because it's very important. And I know my everyday VCs, the people in this community, care about young people. I know it. So there's a sociologist named Karen Parker. She tracked the opening of Black-owned businesses on youth violence. In a 2015 study published in Urban Affairs Review, Parker reported that she isolated the impact of Black business ownership on the rate of youth violence by controlling for factors such as employment levels and poverty rates. Her analysis found that as the number of Black-owned businesses rose, local Black youth violence declined between 1990 and 2000. Black entrepreneurs not only serve as role models, but also provide employment and internship opportunities to young adults. And I'm not going to say where she went to school. I think I remembered, but I didn't write it down here. But isn't that fascinating? That not only is the economic benefit job creation and higher wages, is also reduced youth violence. And if you think reduced youth violence has nothing to do with economics, think again. Because in our households, when our kids get in trouble, that takes money out of the household. I hope everyone understands what I'm saying. It takes money out of the community when our kids are not getting the internships, the jobs, the opportunities that they need in order to be successful. So it is a social impact, and it's, in my opinion, an economic benefit as well. So I'm seeing a lot of hearts and things like that on Instagram. People are saying crystal clear, this is true, fantastic. I'm glad that people understand what I'm saying. I did not know this, and just finding this out, I'm even more committed to the 10K Project, because I was fortunate enough to grow up in a household where I didn't have those issues. But I've spoken with a lot of people who are my peers who did. They made it out for various reasons, but we can do so much more. And if we just look, like Talisha's saying, the socioeconomic impact, if we look at the socioeconomic impact that we can have as everyday VCs, as a 10K Project, we can really change things in our community. So properly capitalized entities have a greater chance of success. And there was also an examination of young firms participating in something called accelerators. Accelerators are places where people go in order to be trained in how to do business. And we're speaking with several right now. Just letting you know that. We're speaking with several right now. But the study found that 2 years after raising capital, funded companies achieved 30% more growth in revenue and 50% more growth in employment than companies that did not raise funding. So if we bring together the accelerator plus the funding, plus those business specialists that can help our entrepreneurs grow, all of a sudden you're able to take the community's money and have a real impact on what we are trying to do. So somebody asked the best way to reach me. Go to the10kproject.com and there's a contact form there. You can fill that out, the10kproject.com. Thank you so much. So yeah, it's not enough for us to just raise money. So as an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur on the 10K Project platform, it is not just enough for you to say, hey, I'm going to come and raise money. It's okay. What else do I need? Who do I need? What do I need? What information do I need? What access do I need? And how am I going to be able to get that? And what we're really looking to do is build an ecosystem of hundreds of thousands of people where entrepreneurs are able to say, this is what I need. And other business owners, other investors who really care about that business, who are most likely invested in some way in that business, can say, hey, you know what? If you need access to, a meeting with this specific executive, hey, I work there. I could potentially get you that meeting. We have someone, we're still trying to talk with him he is an expert in helping getting products on the shelves of Walmart and Target. He actually is said verbally that he's willing to work with our entrepreneurs where they have products and they want to get on retail shelves. Having access to this information and the people that can help you take some of the community's money, because these businesses need to be funded, right? And have access to the people that you need to grow is how the 10K Project overall can be successful. Now, legal note, actually 2 legal notes. Number one is this is for educational purposes. I got to say that by law. And then the second thing is we cannot guarantee any return on investment. You have to be prepared to lose it all. So I have to say that as well by law. But I hope you understand some of the things that we've discovered here and some of the research that I'm talking with you about. So recent findings showed that financial returns from equity capital investments in minority-owned businesses can exceed those from white-owned ventures when they are properly funded. This is an incredible opportunity for us to take advantage of where we are in our nation's history and in our own ecosystem and in our own community. So what are some of the company goals that we have? We want over the next several years to educate 15 million people on financial literacy and entrepreneurship and introduce them to the 10K Project. The primary way we're going to be doing that is through our Building Black Wealth webinars. We've had a lot of great people come through. Some of them have talked about the hemp business. Some of them have talked about technology. Some of them have talked about Alelia Bundles, the great-great-granddaughter of Madam C.J. Walker, talked to us. Part of what she talked to us about was the beauty industry. Dr. George Fraser came in and talked with us, and one of the things he said was, don't just think about building robots, think about repairing them as well. He gave us a listing of some of the things that we should look into with regards to the types of businesses that we should start and the types of investments that he's doing. So all of those are on our YouTube channel. If you go to YouTube and put in Black 10K Project, you can find it, Black 10K Project on YouTube. We have a wealth of webinars that we're doing, content that we're doing, and we have more to come. So if you're on our email list, the10kproject.com, you can download the ebook on our email list and to get on our email list, and we'll let you know. We're doing probably one every 10 days. So if you become a member, some of the things we've talked about in the membership and the people we've had come in to talk to our members around the family bank. There was a Black family that started a family bank. They started with $25 per month per family member, and now they have over 7 figures in their family bank. That's members only. So, we had a woman come 2 nights ago. She has built 3 7-figure businesses, and she trained our investors on how to know if you're looking at a 7, 8, 9-figure entrepreneur. She also talked about her construction company that she has right now, where she hires returning citizens. And she talks about how she does it and how she manages those individuals. And she told a story about a naked man. So, you got to be a member to see those things, though. But, membership is $100. It's a one-time payment for a lifetime. And just those 2 sessions are worth it. But we have others that our members have participated in as well. So, and there's more to come. So our company goals are to educate 15 million people, and we're going to do that a lot through content, through coming on live, to having various people come to chat with us about different industries we can get into. We have a woman coming, I think in the latter part of September. She is coming to talk to us about new technology and how to build portfolios with new technology in them. So if you're a tech geek, or if not, you're able to come in and hear that. You got to be a member for that one. We have another gentleman coming in to talk about how to build a tech company when you don't know how to code. Again, that's a members only benefit, but not everything will be around technology. There will be other people coming on as well. I have a very good friend who started a facilities management company many, many years ago, and I want to have her come and talk about how to start a facilities management business. She teaches other people how to do that now. So that's company goal number 1. Number 2, 1.4 million members. We call them everyday VCs. A VC is a venture capitalist. Why do we want 1.4 million? There is a woman from Harvard University named Erica Chenoweth. She did a study on how things change, how movements get started. Now, hers was more around politics, and whether you should do civil disobedience versus peaceful protests. But she actually discovered that it only takes 3.5% of people participating peacefully in protests to ensure serious political change. So 3.5% of Black America is 1.4 million people. Now, to me, if you are able to pull 3.5% of Black people into something like the 10K Project, what kind of economic change would that be for the community? So now, instead of us doing everything top down, where I like Robert Smith, he came up with the 2% solution, where he asked all of these big companies to put 2% of their net profits into big businesses. It's really great, but what happens if those companies say, no, we don't want to do it? Or what happens when if those companies say, we'll do it, but we'll only do it for a couple of years? And his plan was for like a 20-year period. Then what do we do? Well, now we have an opportunity to help ourselves. Okay. We need, we can do it with less than 1.4 million people, obviously. But for us to have like massive economic change, we're looking at that 1.4 million. We want to fund 150 to 200 businesses annually. So initially, we're going to start off with one a week. Everybody's going to get their feet wet. But eventually, we want to get to 3 to 4 a week, 3 to 4 bet on black pitches every week. Okay. And you, as the investor, gets to take a look at those pitches and say, yeah, I like company 1 and 2. Company 3, it's a great company. It's just not for me. It doesn't fit in my portfolio. And that's fine. And as a business specialist, whether again you're a coach, you run an accelerator, an incubator, you're a salesperson, you do digital marketing, you're an accountant, you're an attorney, these are going to be companies that need our assistance. So some of you may end up growing very, very strong side hustles or main hustles due to the 10K project and the companies that are coming on to the 10K project to get funded. So our platform is going to feature various industries, including new technology, agriculture, manufacturing, logistics, real estate, government contractors, professional services, personal services. So, you know, if you are somebody who you have thought about a business for many years, now's the time to dust off that business plan and consider, you know, consider the 10K project. Again, October 27th, we're going to have that guide coming out for entrepreneurs who want to get funded on the platform. That's going to be the best way for you to find out all of the rules that we have, how to apply, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Another thing that we want in terms of a company goal is A+ customer service for our entrepreneurs from application to campaign completion. We want every entrepreneur that comes on our platform to feel like they were walked through the process, because in order to get on the platform to raise money, you have to go through the SEC. You have to go through the SEC. So we want, you know, people to feel like, okay, you're actually going to be assigned, if you apply and you're accepted, you're going to be assigned a campaign strategist to work with you in order to walk you through the process. Now, we cannot advise you. That's against portal rules. We can't advise you. You may have to talk to an attorney or an accountant with regards to some of the business decisions, but the A+ customer service from us will be with regards to, okay, at least I know what's expected of me. Another thing that we want to do in terms of a company goal is companies are allowed to come back for funding on an annual basis or periodically. Like it can't be more than once a year, but every 12 months. So if an entrepreneur decides that they want to come back for funding, we're hoping that 80% of those entrepreneurs that say they need additional funding and they want to use equity crowdfunding again as a vehicle will come back to the 10K project. Again, we want to have such a great experience for people that they feel like, yeah, you know, I want to go back to 10K. And then the final thing is thousands of jobs created and or saved due to businesses being funded on the platform. That's really huge for me. Financial stability in the community and then financial growth in the community is so important. So I do want to have, you know, a record of the jobs that are being created and the jobs that are being saved. And that's not just people being employed by those companies being funded. I personally believe that some of you will create full-time businesses helping the companies that are being funded on the 10K project platform. And then from there, you may hire additional people to assist you with the services that you're providing. So this could ultimately have a ripple effect. So the research with The Economist. Okay, Eddie the Economist is kind of like my mafia name for him. His name is Eddie Gray. He is a PhD candidate at Howard University, so shout out to Howard. And a couple of days ago, we had a great call with him. He started presenting like some of the information that he's discovered within his economic research. I'm not going to tell you all of it now, but I'll tell you a few things that he's discovered. So one of the things is that when we, in the first year, assume that we are able to fund $100 million, infuse $100 million into our Black-owned businesses in the first year, it's reasonable to assume that the impact of funds will be around $127 million in the first year. So, you know, our ultimate goal is to get to $1 billion a year or more in funding for our Black-owned businesses. But we get to have a multiplier effect in the community. Another thing he said is, now this is a little disturbing. We talked about something called leakage, and leakage means how long the dollar stays in the Black community, right? We often hear that in the Asian community, the dollar stays in there 28 days. In the Black community, it stays 8 hours, right? Well, so what that means is, let's say you buy something from a Black vendor. If that vendor is sourcing that inventory from a non-Black person, that's called leakage. So you did your part, but that company could not do their part. And it may not be because they didn't want to. Most likely it's because we don't have the entrepreneurs and the supply chain sewn up where our companies, our entrepreneurs are able to go to another Black vendor in order to source their materials. So Eddie found out that there is a 98% leakage currently, 98% leakage throughout the Black economic ecosystem, 98%. No wonder we're not getting any wealth. No wonder we're not getting anywhere, 98%. So leakage in the ecosystem is largely dependent upon geography and will vary regionally. However, this is a huge issue, and it's a huge issue within a lot of our industries. So what we're looking at is, what do we do about it? And those are some things we're talking about internally. We're going to have a report come out the latter part of September, early part of October. But Eddie did a great job. There's a lot more data he brought out as well. And I'm going to have him come to do a presentation for us when we have like the whole report done. But we laid out the problem yesterday, and he did a great job of laying out the problem. And I said, okay, so what are your recommendations as an economist? How do we get this 98% leakage down? Now, can we get it down to zero? No. But what can we do? And I will admit, we're looking at a 25-year plan. 25 years is a generation. So what we're looking at is, okay, what can each individual person within the ecosystem do? 10K project ecosystem. And then the second thing is, right now we're at 98% leakage within the 10K project ecosystem that's forming and that's coming together. What does the leakage look like in 25 years? And some of you may say, oh, that's a long time. Let me tell you, I just turned 45. So 25 years goes by really, really fast. Next thing you know, we can look up and we can say, wow, look what we've done. So now we've got 3.5% when we're able to get there, because I believe we can get there. 3.5% of the Black community all working together to handle this leakage issue. And there are going to be some recommendations with regards to some of the companies that come on the portal. That doesn't mean that those will be the only companies, but we're going to be looking at a lot of different solutions and then pulling them together into this report. And if you're a geek like me, like I'm looking forward to the answer. So I know a little bit more of the answers than you do, but Eddie is still running the numbers. We're looking at the jobs that are going to be created. We're looking at some of the wealth that can be built within individual Black families. And we're looking at some of the things that we can do strategically as a community. So that's to come. Again, if you want to be a part of the 10K Project, you can be a member, the10kproject.com. If you like what you're hearing, you can definitely come learn more about us. I know we have a couple of things in the Q&A. I see a lot of chat here on Instagram. See a lot of things. In Zoom here, I apologize if you're on Facebook or YouTube or places like that. I can't seem to find the chat there, but I will look through some of the questions here on Zoom. So, someone's asking about the members only meeting this past Tuesday. Will the replay be emailed to members? It was. So I'll send it to you. Email me at info@the10kproject.com and I'll send it to you again because I did send it last night. So, or yesterday, I should say, yesterday morning. After a business owner receives funding from the 10K Project, what percentage of the business does 10K Project own? So if you mean our company, we will own a small equity percentage. That is going through legal right now, but that'll be disclosed to everyone. Does the 10K Project fund nonprofit initiatives? No, we do not. So equity crowdfunding requires for people to have a for-profit business. So we do not. However, I will say this. Once we get to a certain level at the 10K Project, one of the things that the officers does want to do is give back to nonprofits that are teaching financial literacy and entrepreneurship. So if that's something that you're doing, definitely stay in touch with us because we are going to look at that seriously. We want as many of our people as possible educated in financial literacy and entrepreneurship. Curtis is saying the dollar in the Black community stays zero, Walmart, Nike. Yeah. And now, now I've just kind of laid out just a portion of why. Eddie the Economist did a great job a couple of days ago. It was like a small group of us internally that he gave a presentation to, and we were like, woof, wait until you see that presentation. It really does break it down. Lana's asking, is there a minimum equity amount that investors require? No, but the minimum amount in dollars is 100. It's $100 per investor. But the entrepreneur decides like what their shares are worth and how much $100 gets that individual investor. Stephen is saying 10K Project, 0% of business, things will be handled between entrepreneur and investor. So the SEC does have it where, like, once the crowdfunding is finished, that yes, the entrepreneur does work directly with the investors. And there's a lot of information that'll be in that guide that'll explain that process a little bit more. So, and people are saying, thank you for the live notice. Thank you, Talisha, for telling people to visit the 10kproject.com. We must build more Black businesses and help them strive. That is absolutely the case. Natural Maine is saying it's horrifying. Yeah, but you know what? It's not hopeless. And I do believe that this is a wake-up call for us. And some of us have heard the wake-up call, but we didn't know exactly why things were happening. And now, once we're able to not only dig into why things are happening, but also say, okay, here's what we can do from the ground up as a solution for it. I don't know about you, but I feel much more empowered and better because of it. So, distinct gaps in our supply chain, that's correct. We need more companies to recycle the Black dollar into Black communities. So again, it's difficult for a Black company to recycle the Black dollar if there are no other Black vendors that they need that they can recycle that Black dollar to. And that's where the strategy needs to come in. That's where the strategy needs to come in. We're speaking with legal right now as well about whether or not we can do some sort of a virtual incubator where we can say, here are some of the supply chain gaps, and put people that are interested in those types of businesses together virtually and have you all figure out how you can start a business, who's going to be on the team, all of those things. We're talking with legal. We don't know if we can personally do it or if we can just say overall, here's the study and you all figure it out. So we have to talk to legal about that. Yeah, so now, Tremaine, you're saying you feel so useless in the medical field. Well, don't. There's a lot of things that needs to be done within medicine. So yeah, definitely. Okay. Thank you so much to everyone here. Let's see. Oh, Celeste is saying, where do you get all of these videos and teachings? So Celeste, so some of them are on YouTube. So you can go to Black 10K Project on YouTube and find our YouTube channel. Some of them are just for members only. So if you're a member, every time I send out a members only email, which is about once a week, I have all the members only replays on there. We are opening up a knowledge center. It will open up around October 22nd. And there you'll have be able to log in and get access to all of the knowledge that we have. And we are going to continuously be adding stuff to the Knowledge Center. So Stephen is saying 10K Project is like my parents standing apart, clapping, saying, walk, you can do it. Or them ensuring me that I could ride a bike. Yes. So I think we can. And I think within 25 years, we could run. We could run within 25 years. I was listening to something, I don't remember what it was, and they were talking about some ethnic group. And within 25 years, they had gone from, not doing so well to rising to the top of science and technology. I want to say it's the Indians, but I can't remember who said that or exactly what it was. But within a generation, imagine what we can do. Imagine what we can do. So Natural Maine, I'm very excited to learn more. And you're right, this knowledge is empowering. Yeah, thank you so much. Celeste is saying she's a founders member. Good. Yeah, check your emails, Celeste. And you can email me info@the10kproject.com if you don't see it, but check the one that I sent a couple of days ago. It's members only, and it has a section in there that says replays. It's kind of towards the bottom of that email because I send a lot of stuff in one email, but just check it. So, okay. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Oh, Ali is saying, I ran into a leakage supporting just Black owned and local, simply no businesses that are into incontinence for the elderly. I was trying to wean off of the big brands, but it just isn't available yet. So yes, the 10K Project has the potential to resolve it in the near future. So this is a great point, is people getting together saying, I was looking for this type of Black business and I can't find one. And incontinence is a huge issue. And it's not just an issue in the Black community, it's an issue just overall. So a lot of the businesses that we have or that we want to have will not just serve Black people. they can serve all sorts of people. And, who knows, over the next 25 years, we can have some billion-dollar brands coming out of here from just everyday issues that you have. Or, Natural Maine is saying she's in the medical industry. What's happening in the medical industry? What are some things that people across all ethnicities need solved? Let's get together. Let's get either in these incubators, if it's possible for us to do it. Again, we're checking with legal. If not, then we'll have some sort of way of suggesting that people get together and talk about these and figure out the scalable businesses that could be brought to the 10K project, and hopefully, you apply and hopefully you're selected and you get funded. Yeah, the more people we have, the more businesses we can fund every year. I will say one final thing. I hope that Tawana doesn't kill me. If there are 12 people that have barbecue sauces, your chances are less than if you're the one person that's doing the incontinence idea. And that's all I'm going to say. So you got to look at your competition as well. My suggestion is everything, first of all, everything has to be a scalable business. Scalable business. And we'll have more about what that means in that guide. But I would also consider having something that really is needed in the supply chain. That's just, that's just a little FYI. So I might end up in trouble. All righty then, everybody. Well, oh, wow. Instagram is telling me I have 2 minutes left, so I'm going to get out of here. That was actually my conversation anyway for the day. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. God bless you. Thank you so much. And again, the10kproject.com if you want to be a part of our community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great evening.